Hello, Scorpios, and welcome to your early April reading for 2023. This reading is intended to go out to all of you at the end of March 2023 for the purposes of giving you information, predictions, and projections for the energies that will be influencing you approximately April 1st through April the 15th. This is a general reading going out to all of the Scorpios, including those born under the sign of Scorpio, as well as anyone who has a lot of Scorpio in their sign or in their charts. Oh, I'm just stumbling over my words here. Must be too early in the morning. Where do I want to go? Okay. General reading, Scorpios. Let me just briefly cover this. This is a general reading, and therefore it's going to resonate with some of you, but not all of you. This is because there are timing issues when we are doing psychic readings or working with the tarot. When we are working with the tarot or doing psychic readings, we are tapping into energies on a different realm or different plane of existence. Time moves at different rates of speed on different realms or different planes of existence. And that is why sometimes when we do psychic readings, we'll say, oh, something's going to happen in 2 weeks. And then it doesn't happen. And people go, see, you didn't know what you're talking about. And then 2 weeks after that, it happens. Okay. That's why timing is mixed up sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. And some psychics are better at reading the timelines or adjusting the timelines from the ethereal realm into the earthly realm where we currently exist. The other thing that can change the outcome of a psychic reading is this. You have free will. Scorpio, you can make whatever choices and decisions you want. And so what can happen is during a psychic reading or a tarot reading, certain cards can come out projecting or predicting that you're going to be in a certain place in 2-3 weeks, months, whatever. And you can go, no, I don't think so. I do not want to be there. And then you use your free will and you begin to make some really, really drastic changes in your life. As soon as you begin to make changes, you change the trajectory of your life and therefore the outcome. Readings are done here and now in this moment. And as soon as you start making changes and adjustments, you can change the outcome. So free will becomes really important, especially if you have an important decision to make, Scorpio. If you have a really important decision to make, please tap into your heart center, tap into your own free will, and make decisions based on what's best for you. By all means, many people consult psychics, tarot readers. They consult their moms, their dads, their grandmas, their grandpas, their aunts, their uncles, their religious leaders, their professors from school, whatever the case may be. By all means, consult whomever you believe is going to give you advice for a big decision that you need to make. But do not base your decisions based solely upon the advice from one person or from one area. Throw everything into a big cauldron or a big pot, give it a big stir, tap into your heart center, and make decisions of your own free will. Okay, Scorpio. If you are new here, a very, very warm welcome. If you are returning, thank you so much for your continued support. For those of you who are new here, I work with several tarot decks as well as oracle card decks. And as I pull cards, I do leave them face down until I'm actually ready to read the individual cards for the individual portions of the reading. The reason that I do this is that by leaving them face down, a little bit more of the psychic or intuitive input is allowed to download rather than me seeing an image and knowing what's coming in the cards. Okay. Scorpio, the very first card that we're going to pull is the card of where you are at now. Here at the end of March 2023, all of the cards have been cleansed and cleared. Scorpio, where are the Scorpios at here at the end of March, what energies are currently influencing the Scorpios? Let's go through the deck again. Wasn't quite ready to talk to us yet. Okay, where are the Scorpios at now? There we go. Is there anything else? Nope. Okay, we just have one card that came out for you, Scorpio. Let's pull a card or one or two cards for what you are going to be focusing on for the first half of April 2023. Oh, here we go again. This deck has been really talkative, throwing cards on the floor. Right. Is there anything else that the Scorpios are focusing on the first half of April 2023? Anything else? Nope. Okay. Let me just bend down here and get your card off the floor. And we dropped another one on the floor. This is going to be a fun day. All right, let's have a look at what some difficult influences are, or difficult energies that are going to be influencing you, Scorpio, the first half of April. Is that card actually going to come out? Yep. Difficult influences. Difficult insights, influences. Right. All right. Okay. The next card that I'm going to pull for you, Scorpio, is a card that just makes sense. And I'm getting called over here to, this is a traditional tarot deck. It's also known as a cheater deck. It is one of my earlier decks. I haven't used it for a little bit, so I'm just going to double clear it for you, Scorpio. Okay. What makes sense for Scorpio? What's making sense for the Scorpios early April? Is there anything else? Yep, there we go. Okay. We have two cards that have come out of that deck. Okay. The next card that we're going to pull is your unexpected influences and insights. And I'm getting called over here to the fairies. Hopefully these fairies will behave themselves. They have been a little bit wild, as you know from last month, if you're returning. Unexpected influences and insights. Is that one actually going to come out? Nope, I've decided to stay in. Unexpected influences and insights. Oh, wow. You have a lot of unexpected stuff coming up here, Scorpio. All right. So that was the first card that came out, second card that came out, third, fourth, and fifth. Okay. All right, Scorpio, and the last cards that we're going to pull for you are cards where we look at your outcome. And this is where you are projected or predicted to be and what influences will be affecting you come the middle of April. So these cards are projecting or predicting a little bit further out, given that they are being pulled at the end of March. So where are we going for general overall outcome? I think I'm going to end up pulling one card from that deck, but we're going over here first. General overall outcome. Oh, geez. Okay. This deck. I'm going to end up having to mix up all of these cards that came out because there are quite a number of them. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, we'll have a look at what came out for you, Scorpio. The first card in your reading is the card of where you are at now. What is influencing you now here at the end of March? We have valiant courage. Take action with passion. This is a card that is inviting you to make sure that you are taking steps towards the direction that you want to be going. A lot of the time, we put intentions out there, and then we have a tendency to rest on our laurels or sit back on our haunches and wait. This is a card that's encouraging you to make sure that you are still taking action and moving forward with whatever it is that you are hoping to manifest. Scorpio, I want to say that for some of you, what you are hoping to manifest is actually a new partner. This may end up turning into a little bit of a love reading for the singles out there in the group. But this is a general card of action, general card of make sure that you are moving forward in your life, that you haven't just gone, okay, I'm going to sit here in the lotus position, my hands in Gaya Mudra, and I'm just going to put it out there into the world that this is what I want to manifest. This card is saying that's not good enough. This card is saying, once you've sent that resume out, you have to pick up the phone and follow up with the companies that you sent it out to. Hey, did you receive my resume? Okay. Same thing that, if you're sitting at home trying to manifest a new love interest, and then you go out to the store and I don't know, somebody comes up to you and says, hey, do you think you could help point me in the right direction to the cereal aisle? Okay. Kind of a silly thing, but then you kind of slough it off. Oh yeah, it's over there. And then you completely dismiss the person. And meanwhile, they were your perfect partner. Okay. Keep your eyes open and pay attention, Scorpio, to all the little signs that the universe sends out to us, because they can be as subtle as somebody asking you, can you point me to the cereal aisle in the grocery store? Strike up a conversation with that person if you feel or sense or intuit that there could be something there, even if it just turns into the most amazing friendship that you've ever had in your life. I don't know, maybe the person that asked you to where the cereal is in the grocery store ends up being your next boss, who ends up being just an absolutely fantastic person. You never know. So this card is saying, take action with passion. Take those steps forward. What are you focusing on? Okay. You have two cards from the suit of Pentacles coming up, also known as the suit of rainbows in the Osho Zen Tarot. You have the Five of Pentacles coming up. Now, whenever a five comes up for us in the tarot, it's an indication that there may be this point where you're reaching a crossroads. The suit of Pentacles is earth-based or represented by the element of earth, which corresponds to work and career as well as financial decisions that need to be made. So Scorpio, one of the things that I'm sensing that this card is bringing up for you is that with regards to work and career, as well as money, given the situation in the current world economies, where some banks are starting to fail and our whole financial system is being turned on its ear, there's some questions on your part. So you are focusing on this aspect. And when you focus on this, sometimes it can make you feel like an outsider. So if you are at that point, Scorpio, where you're beginning to think outside of the box, okay, and the traditional banking system is no longer resonating with you, you're thinking about making some changes about how you store your financial wealth. If you're thinking about making some changes with regards to work, job, or career, which are indicated by this card. Remember I said that with this card, it could be a question of somebody walking up to you in the store and ending up being a great new boss for you. This card is saying when you begin to think outside of the box, it can make you feel like an outsider, like you no longer fit in. That's okay. Embrace that, because through that feeling like an outsider, positive change actually happens. you actually begin to experience life on a deeper level. Now, this card corresponds to the Three of Wands, also the sign of fire, or represented by the element of fire. And this card is about actually experiencing what you're going through. Okay. Remember what I said with this card, where some of you, what I'm picking up is that you're sitting at home imagining, yes, absolutely everything that has been contrived and conceived came at first from a thought. Okay, there's not really any denying that, but it didn't come from somebody just sitting there and thinking about it. Eventually, they had to take action and they had to actually experience things. And that's what you are continuing into at the beginning of April 2023, Scorpio. You need to actually be experiencing and doing. Next card plays right into that, in that you have this Knight of Pentacles or Knight of Rainbows, adventure. This means you need to continue to experience. Now, again, this is corresponding to the Pentacles, the suit of Pentacles, and that represents money and career. So Scorpio, there's a chance that there's a little bit of an adventure coming for you with regards to money or career. So be on the lookout for that as we move into April. All right, we're looking at your difficult influences next. You have Stand Your Ground, the Mountain. This is an indication that when you're feeling like an outsider, there's a certain faction of the population. Some people would describe them as narcissists, but just there is a whole faction of the population that has the ability or the capacity to hone in on those of us when we're feeling like the outsider. And they have the ability to step into that and take advantage of us, because when we're feeling like an outsider, we're feeling vulnerable, Scorpio. And so this card coming up in your difficult influences, telling you to stand your ground, it makes sense, because if you're feeling like an outsider, it's a little bit more difficult to stand your ground when you're feeling like the rest of the world is not standing with you. Okay, that's not to say that you can't stand your ground. It's not to say that you can't say to people, this is my boundary, hold up there. But it may be a little bit more difficult here in the first 15 days of April for you, Scorpio. The other thing that I want to point out, when this card comes up, it's similar to the iceberg in that there's a lot going on below the surface. There's more than meets the eye. Okay, if a mountain solely sat upon the earth and had nothing down below it here, it would just keel over in a big windstorm. Okay, so this card is reminding us that there's a lot more going on below the surface that you may not be aware of, Scorpio. So pay attention to that as well when you're communicating and interacting with people. Like I said, going back to this very first card, somebody innocently asking you where the cereal aisle is in the store could actually have ulterior motives, i.e., an attraction, romantic or friendship, or could be looking for a new employee and they felt drawn towards you if they are the intuitive type. So pay attention this month, Scorpio, to what's going on below the surface, because things are not always as they seem. The other card that you got in the difficult influences is the Drum, which is all about dreaming and journeying. Okay, this came up in your difficult influences, Scorpio. This is an indication that you may be having or experiencing a little bit of frustration with your dreams and your journeying right now. They may not be as clear as they have been in the past. And so it just means that you need to put a little bit more work or a little bit more effort into getting that clear picture of where you want to be and projecting out what exactly you want. All right, we're going to have a look at what just makes sense for you. You have the Seven of Cups, and you also have the High Priestess coming up here. The High Priestess can indicate a little bit of a duality coming up for you. Excuse me. It indicates that something new is preparing to come forth within you, but it's not quite ready to break out. And that kind of makes sense with some of this other stuff, with this feeling like an outsider here, with this reminder that you're not always taking the action that you should be, with this card coming up that things are not always as they seem, and perhaps even people might be trying to push your buttons or push your boundaries this month. It makes sense that you've got this High Priestess coming up, telling you that there is something coming up, but you need to pay more attention to your dreams and your intuition. Oh, wait. Right. That's in your difficult influences. Remember what I said? These two cards were selected specifically because they make sense in this reading. These are the cards that usually start to tie everything together. It makes sense that in your difficult influences, you've got the Dream and Journey card. And then coming up, you've got a card reminding you to pay attention to your dreams and your journeys and your manifestations, and reminding you that there is a duality happens when we decide that we're going to change the trajectory of our lives, whether that be starting a new relationship, in which case we create a duality. We're leaving singlehood and we're going into a relationship, whether that be ending a relationship. That creates a duality. Whether we're deciding to move into a new career or a new job, that creates a duality. At some point, we have to leave the past behind, and we have to really step into our dreams. And the High Priestess is encouraging you to do that. You also have the Seven of Cups here, and the Seven of Cups is a card of great potential. It's a card of new beginnings, new potential, a lot of options being available. Hello, Kitty. And so this card is a card that is saying perhaps one of the reasons that the dreams and journeying is coming up in difficult influences, and perhaps this card where everything is not always as it seems came up in your difficult influences, is because you have too many options open to you right now. I want to point out as well, Scorpio, that this is one of your cards. I don't know if that'll come into focus or not. No, not really. Okay. But just trust. There you go. You can kind of see it here. There is the symbol of the Scorpio. So this is one of your cards, Scorpio. And it is one of the things that you do bump into, of having too many opportunities. Again, when we have too many opportunities presented to us, we can feel like an outsider, but as well, it usually means that there's an adventure coming. Let's have a look at your unexpected insights and influences. Interesting. You have 3 cards from the suit of winter, also known as the suit of swords. You have the King of Spring. This is the King of Wands. King of Wands and Valiant Courage are 2 cards that actually go hand in hand, Scorpio. So I just want to tie this together for your reading, that again, you are being called into that place of action. King of Spring is also the King of Wands. You're being called into that place of action. You're being called in to use your leadership skills that you have out there. You have the 9 of Summer. This is a really positive card. I think I mentioned that for some of you, intuitively, I was picking up that this may turn into a love reading. This is a card of love and wishes fulfilled. 9 of Cups, 9 of Summer. This is a wish fulfilled. So between April 1st and April 15th, approximately, Scorpio, this card in Unexpected Influences and Unexpected Insights is indicating that at least one of those manifestations that you've been sitting around going, oh, please come to me, is about to come to fruition for you. You've got the Queen of Winter here. The Queen of Winter, also known as the Queen of Swords, is strong and patient. She's a strong, powerful feminine influence that, if you notice on the card, she's riding a sleigh, and she's riding a sleigh forward. In other words, she's not going to look back at the past. So one of the things that you're being asked to do is let go of the past, because when you let go of the past, you have the ability to focus on the future. And this card is also about job and career. And so I'm just going to read exactly what it says. Now is the time to focus on your career. Unexpected insights. Not really that unexpected when we consider where the direction of the rest of the cards up until this point we're going and speaking to. You have the 8 of Wands, and this is the card of believe in yourself. You had this mountain card here in your difficult influences, indicating that perhaps people may try to push your buttons or push your boundaries this month or in the first half. This card in unexpected influences is saying, Scorpio, you have what it takes to stand your ground. You have what it takes to stand in the boundaries that you have made for yourself. You just have to believe in yourself. And you have the 6 of Winter. Positive changes are on their way to you. All positive cards in your unexpected insights. All right, let's see what we have. We have just this whole whack of cards in your outcome. Okay, interesting. All right, we're going to read them really quickly here for you, Scorpio. The first card that we have is laziness in your overall outcome. And what this card is telling me is that going back to where you were at with the very first card of your reading coming in at the end of March 2023, you are perhaps not taking the action that you need to. And in your general overall outcome, you have this laziness card. This card is saying that come middle of April, even though you have all this other positive stuff going on, even though you have this king who is going to walk in and stand by you and encourage you, even though you have this queen telling you now is the time to focus on your career, you are still tempted to fall back into laziness, Scorpio. So watch for that. You know, like I said, this is the prediction of the energies that are going to be influencing you come mid-April. And as I said at the very, very beginning, before I even pulled a single card, you have the option to change this outcome, Scorpio. And so, I mean, if you want to fall back into this place of laziness, by all means, but you have the option of changing that. If you so choose to fall into laziness, you are going to fall into a place of suppressing your gifts. It's that simple. What will that do? Well, it could force you on a journey, and it could force you on a journey into requiring a whole lot of patience. It could force you into a journey that also puts you on, you know, you've got this traveling card here. So what these cards are telling me is if you choose laziness, you are suppressing all of the gifts that you have, Scorpio. It's going to force you into traveling to a place that you don't really want to go to. It's going to force you into a place where you need to recognize the cycles, and you're going to need a whole lot of patience in order to be able to handle it. This is probably going to cause you a thunderbolt or a tower moment. But ultimately, if you can see things from a new perspective, that's what this card is about. This card corresponds to the Hanged Man in the traditional tarot, which is all about being able to see things from a different perspective, Scorpio. You're going to be able to compare things, compare your lazy life to your life of activity and putting efforts in. That will bring you to a place of going all in. And when you reach this place of going all in, you'll complete the cycle and be able to move forward. Fascinating. Honestly, Scorpio, with that many cards in your outcome, I was really, really tempted to reshuffle the cards, not read them in the order in which they came up, and only read a few of them. I'm really, really glad that I listened to my intuition and I was able to tell the story that the cards wanted to tell for you. Like I said, you have the option of changing and avoiding this tower moment that is being predicted here for you. You have the option to change this. How? Don't fall into this. Continue. You've got the King of Wands here. The King of Wands is about taking action, moving forward. The King of Wands is also about calling in a mentor, calling in a king or someone to walk next to you and keep you on that motivated path that you are meant to be walking. Because overall, the outcome going in with totality and completing the current cycle that you're in, it's absolutely beautiful for you, Scorpio. So I want to thank each and every one of you for being here this month. And I look forward to seeing you again come mid-April for your next reading. Take care, everyone.